What's up? Welcome to C2C Mentors. My name is Ketan and in this video I'm going to talk about verbal or let's say VARC. Now, I'm making this video in the month of August because it's my observation every year that in the month of August, once the notification is out, the panic mode is on. At most of the time, we are so focused on quant, DI and LR because of which the verbal thing is kind of unattended. Now, the major focus is on quant and DLR and it's very obvious that we will be more into these two segments. Why? Because they are tough and again scoring is not that easy. Now the point is that why we are not really good or why we are not really keen on verbal is that verbal we have no idea what exactly needs to be done. Yeah, we know there is RC, we know there is para jumble, but there is no syllabus, there is no portion as such. But when we look at quants, it's huge. There are 22, 23 chapters that needs to be done. DILR, the level of difficulty is growing every year. So we are a little bit tense about it. We've got that fear inside our mind is that कि यार ये करना बहुत जरूरी है, and because of which verbal is unattended and sometimes we do not actually give our 100% to verbal. That's the biggest mistake that we do as a CAT aspirant. Now let's kind of try and understand why it happens and what needs to be done now. So in this video I'm going to talk about that. So first of all, when you talk about verbal, right, as such, now let's do a comparison, a quick comparison. So if you look at, let's say, to get 90 percentile in quant in DILR, the number of questions that you need to crack in quant and DILR to get 90 percentile are always lesser than the number of questions that you need to crack in verbal or in VARC. It means that quant and DILR definitely they are going to be on a higher level as far as the level of difficulty is concerned, but the verbal ability and the reading comprehension will always be on easy to moderate front. I'm not saying this has been the actually case of last 4 years. So you have to work a bit harder on quant and DILR. Comparatively, you don't have to work really hard on VARC. Now, having said that, the irony is that we do good in quant DILR. However, we are not able to score more in verbal ability and reading comprehension. Most of the guys, most of the students are in the same zone wherein they study hard, they practice hard, they kind of take their score up in quant DLR, but verbal not happening. I met this guy in Pune workshop. After the workshop, I was having a chat with him. Pretty smart chap, really scored very well. He said, sir, I scored 99.99 in DILR. I scored 99.50 something close by in quants. However, he scored 40 percentile in verbal. Now, that's a sure hard luck. I mean, I don't know what to say, but I mean, he's not the only thing. There are so many students like that. They score very good in quant and DI, but they do not score well in verbal ability. Why? We do quant and DLR out of pressure, but we don't do verbal out of pressure. The point here is that from now, you need to buckle up as far as your verbal ability is concerned or your RC is concerned whatsoever. You have to start doing some questions right from now. I mean, whether you get it, whether you don't get it. I mean, if you look at CAT ka verbal, is so bloody beautiful because this is the only exam which has such a low level of verbal ka portion. These are only thing that you have to do and all of them will not be there. So reading comprehension is 24 questions out of 34. Para jumble is 10 questions out of 34. That's it, right? So you have RC, you've got para jumble and either of para summary or para completion. That's it and you're done for verbal, right? So having said that, such a chota ka portion you have, I mean doing this portion should not be the problem. Again, as I said, right, it is always very easy. The problem is that for the fact we do not study. Now again, there is something wrong also. There is something that not happening good as far as the students are concerned. And the wrong part is that in quant and DLR, I can cross verify my answers, right? I put in the formula, I solve the equation, I look at the option, my answer is there in the option, move ahead. That's not happening in verbal. That's not happening in verbal. And if you look at always, your attempts are quite higher in verbal than quant and DILR. However, your score is very low in verbal, but in other segments you're scoring well. Why? Because in verbal you are more negative than quant and DILR because वहाँ पे preparation ज़्यादा हुआ है, वहाँ पे understanding ज़्यादा है, यहाँ पे वो चीजें नहीं होती है. And that is the reason verbal being a game changer for your CAT, you miss on that opportunity and the aggregate goes down. See, no doubt that you have to crack the sectional cutoff for all the colleges for IIMs, but trust me, you have to have a good aggregate also. Verbal is a section that can actually pull your aggregate way ahead if you prepare very well. So If you talk about 80 percentile, 85 percentile in quant and DILR, trust me, it's manageable. Even if you pick up your books from today itself, it's still manageable in quant and DILR, because at the end of the day, it's analytical skill. At the end of the day, it has calculation. If you talk about quants, I will be covering all these things in my workshop in Mumbai, this Sunday, next Sunday, Delhi. So the point here is that these things are going to be there. They can help you because they're quants, they're calculation oriented. Verbal, you got to hustle, you got to work hard. Because most of the time we do not understand that how you kind of approach verbal and get it done. And trust me, if you get 80, 80 and 80, your aggregate should be close to 89, 90 percentile. You'll get calls from most of the top 25 B schools in India. But what happens eventually, we score 85 quant, 85 DLR and round about 50, 55 in verbal ability, right? So that's the main problem as far as verbal is concerned. But trust me, that should not be the case in your case in 2019 CAT. So I want you guys to kind of buckle up from now. Try doing chota cheese. See, I tell this to my students, right? I mean, I am going to conduct this workshop anyway. So I'm going to start my workshops in Pune from this Saturday. That's going to be the first reading comprehension ka workshop. You can check my other videos also. There are free videos on YouTube channel. You can check those also, pretty effective. That's the feedback that I've got from my students. So the first workshop is starting from Saturday. You can enroll for that. Sunday, I'm taking a workshop in Mumbai, wherein I'm going to talk about para-jumble and reading comprehension strategy in a kind of bird's eye view kind of a thing. We'll not be discussing everything, but I'm going to tell you that how it is easy, literally, how it's easy to score more in verbal than DILR and quants. It's just that you need to kind of give a bit of attention to it. Now, don't want to exaggerate or not bragging about myself, but if you have seen my videos from last year, if you're following me, you will be able to understand. I just need one lecture. You just have to give one lecture with me for para-jumble. Trust me, CAT, XAT, MAT, CET, your life is sorted for para-jumble. So if you look at verbal, it's so beautiful. One lecture and you're done for like around about like 5 to 6 questions. That's around about what, like 15 to 20 marks, right? So that's how you need to look at verbal ability. And that's what I always tell my students, that if you really want to score more, if you really want to have good aggregate, verbal you got to give attention to. Trust me, there is no excuse, there is no way out. There are certain colleges like FMS, SP Gens, these guys give priority to verbal section. And trust me, it's doable, it's manageable. So many people out there, they don't know what to do. If you take care of it, your percentile will go the ladder up. Trust me. So I want you guys to kind of start working on your verbal. You can begin with some free YouTube videos. You want to join my workshops, they're paid ones, effective, you can do that. This Sunday, August 11, I'm conducting a workshop in Mumbai. August 18, I'm going to be in Delhi. I'll be conducting a workshop, and later on we're going to have a workshop online. There I can literally tell you, I can literally show you that CAT 2018 had certain RCs wherein you can knock off 4 to 5 questions by just reading 20% of RC. I know it's unbelievable, but that's the reality. And that's the reason I'm saying that if you look at last 4 years, the number of questions doable, they have always been higher in VARC compared to quant DILR. So trust me, if you are a smart person, buckle up yourself for verbal right now, because a lot of people are going to moan about verbal and they will be having the panic mode for verbal in the month of October or probably September mid ke baad. Now a lot of people are doing quant DILR. Do that, it's indeed necessary, but start working on verbal. That's going to push your percentile for sure. So guys, that's it from my side. And I have actually put in a description mein all the details now there. You can check my vocab videos, you can check my workshop ka sneak peek, right? You can also follow me on Instagram. I keep uploading certain quotes out there, keep uploading certain vocab out there, right? So you can stay in touch with me. And yes, my next strategy is going to be to give you guys a good idea about verbal ability and reading comprehension for CAT and other exams by uploading a lot of videos on my channel. So do subscribe to the channel, do inform your friends also, let people subscribe to it, because I will be uploading a lot of questions. I will be actually uploading a lot of learning videos about CAT, XAT, SNAP and MAT on my channel. So guys, stay tuned, but start working on verbal. Thank you so much guys, that's it from my side.